What does it actually cost to live in Palm Beach County in 2025? In this video, I'm gonna walk you through housing, taxes, and insurance here in Palm Beach County so that you can have a realistic, numbers-backed picture of what life here might actually cost for you. If you're watching this from New York, New Jersey, Chicago, LA, Boston, or another high-cost market, and you're considering a move to Palm Beach, West Palm, Jupiter, Boca, or Delray, this is designed specifically for you. I'm Joel, I'm a real estate broker here in Palm Beach County, and I help professionals, families, business owners, investors, and retirees relocate with data-driven clarity and a concierge-style process. And one quick note before I dive into the numbers. Everything I'm sharing here is approximate and based on data that's available in 2025. Real estate prices, taxes, and insurance can change quickly and vary a lot by property type, neighborhood, and your personal situation. This video is not tax, legal, or insurance advice. Think of it as a framework to help you think about the cost of living here. When I'm working with clients on a one-to-one, we always pull current property-specific numbers and bring in a CPA, insurance broker, and other professionals. All numbers are approximate, not tax, legal, or insurance advice. Let's start with the big picture. Most cost of living indexes put Palm Beach County above the US average overall, and housing is the biggest driver of that. Depending on the source and the timing, you'll generally see Palm Beach County described as somewhat or significantly more expensive than the national average, especially in the more desirable coastal and luxury areas. But the more useful question isn't, is Palm Beach County expensive? I think the better question is, given my income, my family, and my lifestyle that I want to live, what does it actually cost to live here in Palm Beach County? And to answer that, we're going to look at three buckets. Number one, housing. Number two is insurance. And number three is taxes. As of around 2025, the most recent data trends show the median price in Palm Beach County somewhere in the high 400s to the low 500s, depending on which data set and month you're looking at. That's the middle of the market across condos, townhomes, single-family homes, and it includes both inland and coastal regions. But this county is incredibly segmented. In the town of Palm Beach on the island, typical and average home values are generally in the multi-million-dollar range, even when you include condos. Many single-family home properties trade far above that, especially closer to the ocean or the intracoastal. In more suburban or inland areas, you can still find solid homes for upper middle-class families at price points that feel more reasonable compared to the ultra-luxury end. And in ultra-luxury pockets, Waterfront, Jupiter, certain parts of Palm Beach Island, Manalapan, you'll see properties that can reach well into the 8 and even 9-figure range. For many of the relocating professionals, families, and retirees that I work with, the search usually falls into one of three buckets. So from roughly $750,000 to $1.5 million, you're gonna get strong family neighborhoods, many gated communities, generally good school zones, and a suburban lifestyle. From roughly $1.5 million to the mid $3 million range, higher end, newer communities, better amenities, some golf or water-oriented neighborhoods, and more modern product. And $3.5 million and above, you're getting into luxury and ultra luxury, waterfront homes, top-tier yacht and golf communities, and prime locations on or near the island. Those aren't hard lines, they're just useful ranges to start framing what's realistic for your budget and lifestyle. If you're planning to dip a toe in first and rent before you buy, you should also know that rents have moved up over the last few years. As a very rough planning range for 2025, a modern 2 to 3 bedroom apartment or townhome in a desirable area often lands somewhere around the low to mid thousands per month and is very common to see $3,000 to $5,000 plus in popular neighborhoods. Single family home rentals in good school zones or near the water can easily run in the $4,000 to $8,000 plus per month range and higher for premium or luxury properties. So the decision for a lot of people becomes, do we rent for a year while we learn the area, or do we buy and lock something in now, especially if we're aiming for Florida's tax residency? On top of your purchase or rental price, you'll want to factor in HOA and condo fees. In many single family gated communities, monthly fees might range from the hundreds of dollars into the low thousands depending on the amenities, and in full service luxury condos, especially on the water, it's not unusual to see 4-figure monthly association fees because you're paying for staff, security, and of course, luxe amenities. Maintenance, pools, landscaping, pest control, and wear and tear from the heat, humidity, and storms add up. If you're coming from a city condo with a doorman, owning a single family home in Florida can feel a little bit more like a small ongoing project. When I'm working with clients, we don't look at just the purchase price in isolation. We look at the total monthly carry, which includes mortgage, tax taxes and insurance, plus HOA or condo fees, and realistic maintenance costs. So next up is taxes, and this is where Florida really starts to look very attractive if you're coming from a high tax state. As of 2025, Florida does not have a state income tax. The state is not taxing your wages, your bonuses, or your retirement income. You'll still pay federal income tax, of course, but for high earners from places like New York, New Jersey, and California, that can be a very meaningful difference each year. For a lot of my clients in finance, tech, law, or business ownership, this is one of the key reasons that Palm Beach County is even on the radar. Property taxes are a little more nuanced. Rates vary by city, by specific taxing districts, and by how your property is assessed. But as an initial planning framework, many of my clients use around 1% of the home's value per year as a rough estimate for an owner-occupied property in Palm Beach County. So just as broad examples, not quotes, on a mid six-figure home, many owners will see annual property tax bills in the mid to high four figures or low five figures. On a home in the seven-figure range, it's very common to see annual property tax bills land somewhere in the five figures. At the higher end of the luxury market, those bills can move into the higher five-figure or even six-figure range, depending on the value and the location. Once we're looking at specific properties, we can always pull the actual millage rates and estimates for that address so that you're working with current numbers. Homestead exemption and the Save Our Homes cap. If this will be your primary Florida residence, there are two big tools that can help over time. Homestead exemption. For a qualifying primary residence, you may be able to reduce the taxable value of your home by a set amount, which lowers your property tax bill. And to Save Our Homes. This is a cap on how much your assessed value can increase each year on a homesteaded property. This helps long-term owners avoid huge spikes when the market value jumps. The details change from time to time and depend on your situation, so this is something you'd review with your local property appraiser's office or tax professional, but the big idea is long-term Florida residents in their primary homes have some protection against runaway assessment. On day-to-day spending, Florida's state sales tax sits in the mid-single digits, and when you add in the local portion, Palm Beach County's combined rate typically lands in roughly the 7% range on most taxable items. For my clients, this usually isn't the main driver of the decision, but it's part of the overall picture when you compare costs of living. Insurance in 2025, the wildcard cost. Now let's talk about the piece that surprises most everyone coming from outside of the state: homeowners insurance in Florida. Florida is consistently ranked as one of the more expensive states for homeowners insurance, and coastal, high-value areas like Palm Beach County tend to sit towards the higher end of that range. To give you a rough sense, again, these are broad ranges, not quotes. On a newer, well-built inland home, I often see premiums in the low to mid thousands of dollars per year. On older or larger homes or homes closer to the coast, annual premiums can climb into the higher thousands. For large waterfront or ultra-luxury properties, when you combine homeowners, wind, and flood policies, it's not unusual for total insurance costs to land in the five-figure range annually. Your actual number will depend on the home's age and construction, distance to the coast and elevation, roof type, age, mitigation features, the carrier, coverage limits and deductibles, and this is why I always tell clients, insurance is not something that you check at the end, it's something we underwrite right alongside the house. Keep in mind that flood insurance is a separate policy from your standard homeowners coverage. If a property is in a higher risk flood zone, your lender will often require flood coverage. Even outside those zones, some owners choose to carry flood insurance for peace of mind. Premiums can range from relatively modest for higher elevation or newer homes to a substantial additional line item for lower line, higher risk properties. The one way to know for sure is to have an insurance professional quote specific addresses once we narrow down your target properties. So how do we handle insurance in a smart way? When I work with relocating clients, we focus on three things. First, we underwrite the property early. We don't wait until you're under contract to ask what insurance might cost. We get quotes as soon as we're serious about a property, especially if it's on or near the water. We favor strong construction where possible. Newer roofs, impact windows, and updated systems usually help both the insurance cost and long-term resale value. And we right-size coverage. We bring in a specialized insurance broker to align deductibles and coverage with your risk tolerance and your net worth, not just a generic online default. Let's pull all this together. For the high-income household considering a move to Palm Beach County in 2025, here's how I'd summarize the cost of living. Housing. The countywide median sits in the high 400s to the low 500s, but the neighborhoods you're likely considering, Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, attractive parts of West Palm, Boca, the island, will often be above that. Your search might realistically fall somewhere between the mid six-figure range and multiple millions, depending on your goals. Property taxes. As a starting point, many people plan on roughly around 1% of the home's value per year, then refine that based on the exact address and exemptions. Insurance. Insurance is a meaningful line item here. For some newer inland homes, it can be manageable, but for coastal or luxury properties, it can be a significant annual expense and something that you want to understand upfront. Income taxes. In exchange, you're getting no state income tax, which can materially improve the math for high income earners over time if you set things up correctly. For many of my clients coming from the Northeast or California, the math looks something like this. Housing and insurance can be higher than they expected, but their state tax burden drops, and the lifestyle is something they can't easily replicate elsewhere. The key is going in with eyes wide open and a clear plan. When you're ready for a more personalized look at the numbers, use the link in the description to schedule a confidential strategy call with me. We'll talk through your timeline, your price range, and I'll help you build a custom cost of living model around the types of homes and communities that you're actually considering. I'm Joel Poulin, your Palm Beach real estate broker, and I'll see you in the next video.